Hey, yo, in this video, I'm going to break down the truth about industry plants, the whole young Dolph debacle, and a much-needed everyday struggle call-out. Stay tuned. Hey, yo, what's going on? My name is Ruslan, hip-hop artist, creative entrepreneur. I run a boutique label in San Diego, California called King's Dream Entertainment, and I've been a full-time artist going on 4 years this July, completely independent. And I'm going to break down some stuff on this video that probably controversial, not too many people want to talk about, not too many people want to touch, but I think it's absolutely necessary because the tactics that are being used, I think it's just kind of unfair, and I saw it all unfold about a week ago on Everyday Struggle with the whole young Dolph claiming to be independent but not really being independent, and something they did right before our eyes that I don't think anybody noticed that they need to be held accountable and need to be called out for. Now, again, my name is Ruslan, hip-hop artist, creative entrepreneur. I'm originally from the former Soviet Union, and I make music, YouTube, all that kind of good stuff. So check it out. In the music business, there's been a long-standing method of trying to create artists to make them look quote-unquote independent, to make them look organic, to make it look like everything's just bubbling and happening naturally. And this has been a long, ongoing thing that a lot of your indie artists are really signed behind the scenes to major labels. And by indie, I just mean you own your masters. I mean that there's not a major corporations pumping money into you to help you go viral. I mean independent of a major corporation. That's all I mean. And so I think there are a lot of indie artists that have done amazing things. And then I think there are independent artists that are really using it as a marketing tactic because it's a way of pulling the wool over your guys' eyes as the consumer. So before I get into that, salute to all the Patreons. This topic actually came up on our weekly Patreon Zoom video call where we discuss all kinds of different topics just like this. I get in, Patreons come in, and we just chop it up for a couple hours every Sunday night. And this came up, the topic of industry plants. And so I wanted to address it, but it's not what you guys think. An industry plant isn't necessarily what you guys think, because a lot of people think that the wrong people are industry plants. Like they think a guy like Russ is an industry plant, and he's not. Russ had 12 albums out before he signed to Columbia and openly disclosed that he signed to Columbia. Or a guy like Post Malone is an industry plant. No, Post Malone had a viral hit single and signed to Universal, and then they supported it. That's not what industry plants are, in my opinion. I think industry plants are people who maneuver and manipulate the public's perception of them to make them look a certain way when they really don't. And the ultimate example of this is the current Young Dolph situation. If you guys don't know who Young Dolph is, he's an artist out of Memphis. He's had some different run-ins with Yo Gotti and a bunch of beef and all this kind of stuff, gotten shot up a bunch of times. But he has a really serious music career, a real following, a lot of viral moments and all kinds of stuff that's happened. But recently, he put out this tweet. Now, what makes this tweet unique is that he's consistently claimed to be independent. He's consistently kind of dissed and pooped on rappers who aren't independent and always championed that he's the independent go-getter. He's done it himself. It's all about him being independent. And I've always found it inspiring. I always find anybody that could do it independently and reach that mainstream level of success, I think that's super dope. I think that's incredible. And so I've been like, yo, that's dope. I'm not really the biggest fan of Young Dolph's music, but I think it's awesome when any artist can get to that level independently, until we all found out that it wasn't, and it was a big lie. Check it out. Here go the tweet. Pull it up for you guys right now, and it really caught a lot of people off surprise. Young Dolph, this was tweeted January 29th, 2019, just a week ago. He says, I have a confession. I signed 2 deals in 2018 and signed a deal in 2015. Okay, now mind you, he's been claiming to be independent as far back as he can go. He's been on record on the Breakfast Club and all these different people. So he said he signed 2 deals in 2018 and a deal in 2015. So first of all, what does it mean that he signed 2 deals in 2018? What does that mean? Okay, basically what happens is majors and independent distributors, specifically Empire and Ghazi and all those guys, they do partner with major and independent artists, and they upstream when they need to upstream stuff and get more visibility for stuff, and they downstream when they want to make stuff look more organic. And so a lot of artists like Drum or like maybe a guy like Kyle, they'll be on Atlantic and they'll have a poppin' single and it's kind of bubbling, but then they'll downstream it through Empire and it'll be like the independent arm of a major label, if you will. And Empire, a lot of people do business with Empire. Empire's a great company from everything I understand. So what I'm guessing he said by he signed 2 deals is he probably signed some type of like indie distribution deal to push out his mixtape and at the same time have a major deal when he's ready to put out his own stuff. So this is common. They kind of go back and forth. They do this. This is XXXTentacion. Before he passed away, he said he signed a deal with Capital Caroline, but then his last couple records still came out through Empire. Kind of a common move nowadays. And a lot of majors want it to look like you're independent. So the thing that really caught me, I wasn't really caught off guard. I was like, okay, he signed 2 deals in 2018. Big deal, right? Probably a distribution deal, and he signed a major. Thing that caught me off guard was he was lying about it and that he had really signed a deal back in 2015. That's the one I'm curious about. What did he sign in 2015? Who did he sign with? Because if he kind of personified this go-getter, independent, I do it all myself vibe, and then in reality somebody's been funding it and somebody's been getting him those bigger placements, those bigger playlists, those bigger shows, those tours, that visibility, the Breakfast Club interviews, those big platforms, somebody's bankrolling that. I think it's really whack to deceive the public like that, and I just think it's super corny for anybody to do that, let alone an artist that seems to have a viable hit and career. And so fast forward, everyday struggle. They covered this. I'm going to play you guys the clip. Heads up, there's a little bit of profanity on it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'm going to play you guys the clip. I'm going to react to the clip, and then I'm going to show you the subtle how they just reinforced this entire thing. They sat there, this is a minute and a half of it, but they sat there and they talked about this Young Dolph thing for like 10, 12 minutes. Actually, it's like the 14-minute mark in the show. I can't believe it. He said he was independent. He's not really independent. Oh my gosh, why would he do that? Why would he sign to a major? Oh my gosh, he's so smart. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And then they do this thing that's so subtle, but completely reinforces why artists play this entire game of being indie, but really being signed. So let's check out this clip. Everyday Struggle discussing this entire thing. Everyday Struggle is a show on Complex. Complex is a big media company. They own Pigeons and Planes. They own this show. They put out a lot of content, review a lot of music. It's a big media empire that works a lot with major labels. So check this clip out.
Well, the bigger the deal, less leverage. If we just talking numbers, the bigger the money that you're probably signing, you probably are giving things up.
But you're legitimizing the money. You're legitimizing the money, and you're asking the money based on what you're worth walking into the door. Now, when they say I'm going to give you all of this, that don't mean that all your groundwork just goes out the door just for that amount of money. I mean, I wouldn't do that.
You're talking about having leverage as an artist. Young Dolph
you
had
might not have the control at a certain point. You know, once we start investing a certain amount of money. But listen, man, Dolph, work this out, bro.
Yeah, if you're not hacked, hopefully you figure this all out.
Not just saying he's hacked for tweeting this stuff.
I need to see more Dolph pieces.
Now watch this. Watch this. Very subtle.
All right,
Watch
so
what happens.
today's heat check I'm really excited for. Our heat check for today is Boogie. So he's 29 years old from Compton. He signed to Shady Records in October 2017 and just dropped his debut album, Everything's for Sale. Now I love Boogie because I think if you're an artist who sits around and see a lot of people just shoot to the top of the charts and you've been grinding for a long time, that can be disheartening. Boogie's been out here putting in work for years. So he's had a few mixtapes, Thirst 48 in 2014, great mixtape. The Reach, Thirst 48 Part 2. And then he had a couple big songs. I don't know if you guys remember Oh My when it dropped. I think that was like a Jaleel Beats
signed record deal with Shady Records.
Amazing. Yeah. Rainy Days, Sunroof, featuring Eminem. So yeah, he's been working really hard for a long time. It's nice to see him finally getting the spotlight he deserves. What do you guys think?
So you guys didn't catch that. You guys didn't catch that, but that's okay. So check it out. So Boogie, artist from Compton. This is not a knock on Boogie. I think Boogie makes super dope music. I have no quarrels with Boogie, but Boogie, the way they're presenting him on this show, they're reinforcing this thing. Why? Because they said, Boogie, big old headlines, signs to Shady Records in 2017, right? It's 2017. But Nadeska's being honest and she's being fair and she's saying, well, he's been putting in a lot of work. He's been putting in a lot of work. He's been putting in a lot of work. Now, but it says he signed in 2017, which means it just became 2019, and he's already popping. He's already big. Boogie was behind Eminem when he did that Donald Trump freestyle, right? And he signed to Shady Records in 2017, and now he has his debut coming out in 2019. Why does any of this matter? Well, because Boogie was actually signed to Interscope in 2015, or maybe earlier, but 2015 is when Complex announced it. It's right there. Look, where's it at? Boom. August 13th, 2015, Boogie signs with Interscope Records. On Complex.com, he signs with Interscope Records. Big, bold letters. So why would he sign with Interscope Records? Why would he sign with Interscope Records in 2015 and then put out a record on Interscope Records in 2016? He has some indie mixtapes out. Puts out a record in 2016 on Interscope Records, right? Then the announcement is, oh, he signs with Eminem and Shady Records in 2017. And now his album's coming out. Why does any of that matter? Here's why. Because the perception is the faster somebody gets on, they get signed, then they pop, then their album comes out. It makes it feel organic. It makes it feel like it happens overnight. So all those little dates and all those little details matter when they're trying to tell you the story, and they're trying to tell you and sell you a story. And again, props to Boogie. I have no beef with Boogie. I actually like Boogie's music. Boogie's been transparent about, yo, I was signed, I was broke, I didn't have money, I spent through he has a really dope Sway in the Morning interview you should check out. So Boogie's actually one of the more honest people in this entire equation. He doesn't really play into this game like that, but nevertheless, they still project and personify the story that he's only been on Interscope and Shady for 2 years, when in reality, he's been signed at least 4 years. He's been signed since at least 2015, and Complex covered it in 2015, but they want you to seem and they want it to feel like it's a 2-year bubble versus a 4-year bubble, while all along saying, oh, you know, artists that shoot up to the top of the charts, while you're reinforcing this entire industry plant motto. And I'm not saying Boogie's an industry plant. I'm saying Boogie's been on a major label with major label resources, with major label budgets, with amazing videos, amazing mixing, amazing everything for at least 4 years, but they're trying to make it seem like he just signed to Eminem 2 years ago. That ain't right. That ain't right. That's just not even 2 years ago, November of 2017, which is really a year and a half ago. So what's the point, Ruslan? Why are you being petty right now? What does any of this matter? This is the only way I could describe it that may make sense for some of you guys. And it may not make sense for some of you guys. And maybe I am being petty. I don't think so. I think this stuff needs to be addressed. But here's the deal. There's a parallel to sports, right? And in sports, when you go to an event, when you go to see an MMA fighter, and you're seeing John Jones fight, and you're seeing another guy fight, I think whether you're watching that, whether you're watching the Olympics, whether you're watching basketball, your expectation is that these are real natural athletes, that they got to this place by hard work, by grinding, and then they jumped up to a different platform, and then they got better coaches and better training, and they developed and they grew organically. But when you find out that an artist has been doping, when you find out that an athlete has been doping, when you find out that somebody's been taking steroids, when someone's been cheating, it's an unfair advantage for the person that's on steroids. And that's what this whole thing is. These major labels are really just steroids to get your career to pop faster. If you've been on a major for 4 years, if you've been on a major for 2 years, if you've been on a major for 1 year, I don't care. I care that you're fronting and you're acting that you are still independent, or that the narrative by Complex, by Pigeons and Planes, by Everyday Struggle, that the narrative is still, oh, he came up, he's been putting in work, but he got signed in 2017, while picking apart an artist that has been signed since 2015, just like Boogie has, to a major label, and saying, oh, I can't believe he did it, I can't believe he did it. And again, I'm not saying it's the same thing. Boogie kept it a buck. He announced it. Complex posted it. He moved on. It's similar to Russ. When Russ signed his deal, he announced it. It was a very transparent process, but that doesn't negate the fact that this is a mind trick, and it's unfair to those of us who are actually independent, who actually aren't taking advances, who actually don't have major label ties or industry relationships or big dollars behind us. It's unfair when you have real independent artists out here really putting in the work, really building our fan bases independently without any support, and you have others that are selling this facade of being independent when they're not truly independent. Complex, y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to stop scolding Young Dolph while playing into the narrative. And I'm pretty sure Nadeska, if she's truly a fan of Boogie the way I am, because I've been following Boogie's career since 2015, the beginning of 2015, pretty sure she knew he's been on Interscope this entire time, but she still chose to play the narrative of signed in 2017. Those are my thoughts, man. Let me know what y'all think. Am I being petty about this thing? I don't think so. I think we need to call this stuff out. I think we need to stop with the industry plans and stop with these mind tricks trying to trick you guys into thinking this person's person's indie and this person's indie and this person's indie. But the reality is, man, a lot of these guys are not. They're on major labels, and they're trying to trick you into trying to make you believe that there's something that they're not, and that's not okay. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comment section. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that.